Hey guys, what's going on? It's John here, and welcome back to our Understanding Rainbow Six Siege series, where today we're taking a look at understanding our first map, where I've decided to begin with the newest addition to Rainbow Six Siege, Theme Park. No! The reason I want to cover Theme Park first is, well, Theme Park is massive and it's decidedly difficult to understand, so I'm going to give you all the knowledge I've learned playing it through the past month to tell you how to defend best, how to attack best, and in general where the power positions are, and we'll begin with the defensive locations. Our first defensive location is 2nd floor Daycare. Our next defensive location is 2nd floor offices. On the 1st floor, we have Bandits Hideout, first floor Drug Lab. And finally, last, and certainly least in my opinion, we have the 1st floor Haunted Dining area. So we'll begin with how to defend 2nd floor Daycare. A good tip that I give people is to reinforce the south side wall that faces bunks and the washrooms, as that bunk bed washroom area is very high traffic and it is a very important power position whether you're on defense or you're attacking, as it allows you to control how the enemy enters that sort of 2nd floor Daycare area. It lets you watch them come in from the front door, from trains, or from cafe, or from down the stairwell at the end of the hallway, so it's a very important position to control. And I always barricade the door from trains, just to make it that much harder for attackers to come from that direction without you hearing it. But be warned, there is also a hatch right there, so you have to watch out for that as well. It's also a good idea to run an operator with impact grenades such as Ella, because in the washroom you can blast out a hole in the very bottom left that lets you watch that front entrance area, which can be very useful. As well, be warned, as the wall on the right hand side of the bunk area does face trains and can be breached very easily if it's not reinforced. Attackers are very likely to come from the ledge outside the cafe area, as I'm showing you here. So I don't usually like to hang around the cafe, as you'll often get peeked from the outside and there's not really much you can do about it. You'll find that attackers tend to frequent these kind of high traffic areas, such as the bunks and the washrooms, and the trains, and that ledge outside the cafe, just so they can get a good angle on you. Other places you should be wary of attackers coming from are the 1st floor barrel room, as well as that 1st floor washroom and drug lab kind of area. Some people might try and sneak in there and catch you off guard, but it's oftentimes why on Daycare I just recommend hanging out in the bunks and washroom area, rotating around to watch trains, rotating around to watch that front entrance area, and looking at the stairwell. Oftentimes when people come from cafe, they'll run right into your lines of sight either way, as long as you're being vigilant and working together with your team. So our next objective is the 2nd floor offices right off of the trains area on the other side of the building from the Daycare. This objective can be a little tricky to defend if the enemies decide to push trains very heavily, and that's what a lot of my defensive strategy on this objective revolves around, stopping the enemies from coming from trains and from the hatch area. Now, oftentimes when we're defending the offices, I see people hanging out in the cash room. It's not entirely a horrible idea, but in my mind, it leaves you kind of open. If somebody decides to drop down the hatch, or if somebody decides to come up the haunted staircase, all they're going to do is peek you, and you haven't really done anything. So my recommendation for defending the offices is to hang out the other side of the hallway, just in the initiation room and the control room. If you barricade off that wall that connects it to the trains, it can be very tricky to get into the initiation room, but it's nearly impossible to get onto the objective without you seeing them. In my opinion, the initiation and control room area is one of the most important power areas on the entire map, because you can seriously control how the attacking team gets into the office area. They can't simply break down the wall if they don't bring a thermite, and they generally have to come down that hallway because they won't usually go for the window on objective. The only windows peeking into that area are from the window outside the control room on the landing, or by the trains area there's another small window that can get you into the little service area, but most of the times you'll find that people will just either come up the stairs or drop down the hatch or try to come from trains, all of which you can very easily stop. So in general, for the office area, take control of that initiation and control room area, as you and your team are going to have the best time defending the offices from there. It'll be easiest for you to exert pressure on the attacking team, and they'll find it very difficult to get anywhere near the objective if you and your team look out, work together, and use the skills that I've taught you in other videos to help you succeed. The next objective is the first floor drug lab. This objective I recommend defending very similar to how you would defend Daycare, as in my experience, people tend to attack it rather similarly. Although it's very important to note that you should get the hatch that's on the second floor by the Daycare, just to stop people from looking down on you if you are staying on the objective. What I mean by defending it the same as you defend Daycare is not to have your entire team roaming, as that wouldn't make sense. What I mean is have a couple operators stay on the objective and be an anchor, such as Rook or Dock, as it's fairly safe to be there and there's very few windows that look directly onto the objective, so you're relatively safe to stay there. What you should have is 1 or 2 people maximum roaming around in the areas around Daycare. Take control of the bunks and the washrooms, barricade off from trains, make sure people don't come in from cafe, and try to exert pressure on your team from up top, as that's how they will most easily take your team out. Additionally, if you stay upstairs in the second floor Daycare area, you can rotate down the stairwell and see if anybody's trying to come in through the washroom, or through the little closet by the haunted dining area, or around the hallway in the first floor barrel room there. Ultimately, that upstairs Daycare area is a very important power position to hold, and it's important that you don't get taken out so that the enemy team can't push in through the upstairs, as your team will have a hard time defending if the entire enemy team is attacking from upstairs. Another important thing to note is that if you plan on staying on the objective, the floor is destructible for about half of above the objective in the cafe, so it's possible for Sledge or Buck or Fuse to fuse down on you, so just be wary of that. And finally, we have my least favorite objective on the map, the first floor dining area. Although it's my least favorite objective, that's just my opinion, and you shouldn't take my opinion as the truth. The reason I personally don't like this objective is because there's so many ways for the attacking team to get onto it. There's so many doors and there's so many walls that they can blast open that it's almost impossible to stay on the actual objective itself. I oftentimes finding myself playing a 3-speed operator, as they're very fast and they let you get out of the danger very quickly, which you'll need to do while defending this objective. In general, I like to hang out in the stairwell and sometimes in the drug lab area just to see if anybody tries to come in that way, but in general I try and watch the trains, and I always reinforce the hatch there just to stop them from dropping down close to the objective and peeking onto it. As you can see, the first floor of Theme Park can be very confusing and very hard to understand, and this is why I find it so hard to defend, because there's just so many ways that the attackers can come at this objective. But like I said, in general, I recommend watching the trains and watching in the drug lab area, but also one of my favorite places to hang out is that little execution room just off to the side there. As long as you've gotten the hatch, you can hang out there and be relatively sure that people won't peek you from above. You can have a line of sight onto the objective, you can blast out the wall beside you if you need to look onto the stairwell, or the washrooms, or the little janitor closet, and it's just a very good little power position, and it's probably my favorite spot as of now. So my best advice for defending the haunted dining room is to hang on to that execution room and hang on to the stairwell and watch trains to stop the enemies pushing from first the ground floor and also from above. So, for attacking Theme Park, the thing you have to understand is that Theme Park is a very big, complex map, so it's going to be practically impossible for your team to gain control of the entire building like you could, for example, on a smaller map like House. So oftentimes what I recommend people do on Theme Park is to take control of those power positions that the defensive team is going to try to take hold of and use it against them. For example, take control of the bunks in the washrooms, or the terrace outside the cafe, or the initiation room, and apply pressure from those really good places to defend so that they no longer have possession of them. As well, you and your team should work together to try and clear as many areas as you possibly can, because it's very easy for someone to rotate around and flank you. this ease of rotation for defenders is often why I recommend people play, or why you often see me playing Jackal on Theme Park, because if somebody's trying to rotate around, you can at least have some idea and maybe track them and try and figure out what their movement plan is, and you can maybe foil a defender's plan to flank your team. For attack, what I found works best is, like I mentioned, just to take control of those really important power positions and exert pressure with your team on them from multiple angles. That way the defenders won't really know which way you're coming from, but they'll be pinned down from many different directions, and that's very important for keeping them where they are so they can't roam around and take your team by surprise. Now, a very common tactic that I've seen people use is for their entire attacking team to try to enter from the trains area, which personally I don't think works out the best on Theme Park. Because that upstairs trains area is such a high traffic area, it's a common spot for roamers to rotate through, such as Gavira or Jaeger or anyone 3-speed really. If they're trying to flank your team, they're going to go through that trains area, and that's oftentimes where most teams get taken out. As I mentioned, the bunks and the washrooms have a very good angle on that trains area, and it's just generally not the best place to try to push your attack from. Another thing that I don't recommend attacking teams to do is to try and drop down through the hatches on either side of the map. It's super easy to peek the hatches on defense, and it's really easy to know when attackers are coming from there, so like I said, it's easier to take control of those power positions. Specifically the bunk beds and the initiation room. Going into the control room and the initiation room when attacking offices is a great way to bypass the hatch. You can use the hatch as a distraction and come in from the control room and initiation room and take your opponents by surprise. So that about covers it for my attacking tips for Theme Park. In general, push those power areas where the defenders are going to be hiding to get them out of there and use that power position against them. That way you will be able to lock down the enemy team and prevent them from moving. As well, try to avoid the hatches or any really obvious entrance points such as the trains, because that way the defenders will just take you out, and they're oftentimes going to be roaming there anyways, so it's an easy way to die quick. So that is going to conclude our Understanding Rainbow Six Siege guide for Theme Park. If this video helped you understand the map, or you just learned some new tips in general, be sure to hit that subscribe button, be sure to leave a like, and leave a comment if there's anything you think that I missed out, or anything you think that you want me to cover. Just throw it down there in the comments and I'll be sure to respond to you guys. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you out a little bit, or hopefully a lot, and helped you understand Theme Park, because trust me, I totally understand. It's really difficult. And when these kind of new big maps come out, everybody's scrambling to understand them, and it can seem like quite a mess. So hopefully this helped you out, and hopefully you enjoyed. So I will catch you guys in the next video.